Hello and welcome to Comics Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Eric McElroy. Good evening.
Hello. So, wherever you're watching this, welcome. It's another one of the specials. This is a Brighton Fringe special. Yay!
Woo!
If you've never seen the show before, it's perfectly fine and maybe you made the right choice. It's a comedy show where these two comedians have a look at the problems of the world through the news, through the messages you send to us, and we gosh darn solve them. And by that I mean probably don't solve them.
Any of them.
We have a crack at it though. The subscription link's down the bottom. Through the show, wherever you're watching this, you should be able to message us. But if you aren't sure, you'll get it to us. You could tweet it. There we go. At Mr. Stephen Allen over there. At Eric McElroy over there. So you've got write those down. You can send us some messages. Send us your problems. We'll see what we can do, and we'll mention the awkward concept of maybe begging for a little bit of money to try and fund this bad boy as we crack on. However. Before we get too far into anything, I think, given that there's so much going off in the news, we should just jump right in and see what Mr. Eric McElroy's got for us today.
Yes, and also, actually, I'm going to pause on that for 1 second, Steve, even though you beautifully set it up, and to say thank you, because there were some people that purchased tickets in advance for tonight. So you can chuck us more money if you want, but you've already paid something. And then for those of you who haven't, some people...
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that. But yes, this is exciting because it's our second festival. We did the Edinburgh Festival, Brighton Festival. We're on tour, Steve.
From our spare bedrooms. This is so good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Sorry, the office / studio.
Oh, yeah. This is an office. I don't have to sleep in here that often. There are problems in the world, Steve.
Yeah?
And this next one I'm going to lay out here is kind of a big one. I've written it down. I want to make sure I do it right. So what do you do when you're trying to spin having COVID after you've blown your response as President of the United States, and there's an election in a month, and you don't want to lose that election because it means you'll go to jail?
It's quite a specific problem that you're nailing here. Yeah.
I mean, it could happen to anybody.
Yeah, true.
Could. Hasn't. So we all know that Donald Trump has been diagnosed with COVID-19. He's trying to deal with it. Maybe he's better. Maybe he's not. We don't know exactly what's going on. But as it's Donald, what he is trying to do is he's trying to spin it now. They're trying to find a way out of it. He's trying to turn it into a win because he still wants to win the election, to stay out of jail. So they started laying out the strategy on Sunday because he went to the hospital on Friday. It was Friday. Yeah, Friday, Saturday. It all blurs together. Each day is a month with everything going on. And they planted the seeds of what they were going to do. And they started this Sunday with some of his advisors right here.
And when I had this half-hour conversation with the president yesterday, he said two really important things. Number one, that we're going to defeat this virus. He's going to defeat it. We're going to defeat it as a country.
There we go. I mean, that's kind of presidential talk, isn't it? The president's going to defeat it. We're going to defeat it as a country. This is a war, Steve. It's a war against the virus. And what does that war look like? It looks like this. That is actually documentary footage.
Wow.
I'm not sure in that image, though, which one is the virus. I'll be honest with you.
Yep.
Now his advisor there said that Donald Trump had 2 steps. That was step 1, fight the virus. What is step 2 now that he's had it?
He said another thing that I found very important, and he said, be careful. I want you to tell people to be careful. That means wash your hands, use hand sanitizer. If you can't socially distance, wear a mask.
Finally, Steve, how many times have we talked about masks on this show? We've done different masks. We put underwear on our heads. You put your own underwear on. We've done gussets. We've done nylons. We've done everything. You've made masks with mouths. Finally, Donald Trump has realized with the severity of this disease, the only thing that we can do, at least a minor thing, is to try and wear a mask. And when he did discharge himself from the hospital because he's insane, he said this changed strategy. Wore a mask on the helicopter. He got to the White House. Let's watch the president lead the nation wearing a mask. Oh, and he's done. Okay. I mean, that was good. I mean, that was you figure he walked out of the hospital. That took 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Helicopter ride, 10 minutes. Walk up the stairs, half an hour because he was struggling.
No ramps available.
And the mask is off. The mask is off because it's not like there's people at the hospital, at the White House, which is not a hospital, like the cleaning staff and the Secret Service and the people that serve him his food who would want him to not spread the anyway. Now, I was going to do a bit where he takes off the mask and then there's like a skull, you know, like, oh, he takes off the mask. Oh, what's there? But I thought, you know what? Just seeing his face was bad enough. So Trump did the little stunt on the balcony, and then he turned inside the White House, and this is what he had to say.
I just left Walter Reed Medical Center, and it's really something very special. The doctors, the nurses, the first responders.
Yep, and he just left the hospital. And we got a quick little shot of the doctors after he left the hospital here. Oh, look at that. They look pretty happy. That is a happy guy. I have to say, I did take that clip off YouTube, but it only had 6 views. So I don't think we're going to get sued for that one.
Okay, well, we'll see.
We'll see what happens. It's happy. It's part of the show. Now he's got a vision. Now he's president. He's got a vision for how things are going to go forward.
And I learned so much about coronavirus. And one thing that's for certain, don't let it dominate you. Don't be afraid of it.
Don't be a loser. Don't die. Don't be like Donald Trump. You got to dominate the virus, Steve. That's the plan. If you get the virus, you got to dominate it. And how do you do that? How do you dominate a virus? Trump knows how.
Moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there. And she was married. And all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look.
She's your girl's hot as shit. In the purple.
Whoa.
Yes.
Whoa.
Whoa, yeah. Look at that. That's
spears on that.
nice, juicy coronavirus. Look at those orbs. Grab me some of that. It's fair enough. It's not a bad idea, I guess. The president, you know, he's the president of the United States. You have to worry. How is he feeling exactly? He told us.
Equipment, we have the best medicines, all developed recently. And you're going to beat it. I didn't feel so good. And 2 days ago, I could have left 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I felt great, like better than I have in a long time. I said just recently, better than 20 years ago.
Wow. That is impressive, Steve. It is amazing how you can feel when you're pumped up on steroids and you haven't eaten a bucket of fried chicken for 24 hours. It makes a big difference. I mean, you get a little bit away from that anyway. But he's so dominant, Trump, you know, and I mean, you know, you have to think if he knows how to handle these things, and he's the fittest guy ever, why did he allow himself to get the virus?
Well, I'm back to work. We're going to be out front. As your leader, I had to do that. I knew there's danger to it, but I had to do it. I stood out front. I led. Nobody that's a leader would not do what I did.
That's leadership, Steve. That's what you do when there's a deadly pandemic out there and you're in a high area of risk. You go out there and you lead the nation.
Yeah,
right. That's why. Yeah, that's why. I mean, it's such an incredible form of leadership. He's right. I mean, what? Like, for example, like if I want to test the airbags on my car, what do? I drive my car into a wall. That's what I do.
It's because you're a great
leadership
leader.
Is done. If I want to know if a brick is going to hurt when it falls on my foot, I take that brick, I drop it on my foot.
Yeah. Empiricism. It's beautiful.
Biden isn't doing that. Clearly, he's intelligent. But Trump he's discharged. The question is, he's left the hospital. Is he better? This is what he thinks.
Now I'm better, and maybe I'm immune. I don't know.
I know. He's not. So there we go, Steve. It's difficult to kind of, I guess it's hard to know exactly what the plan is going forward, but one person put it together and stated it, the plan of this administration, and I suppose his followers, this is the view they're going to go for, and it was put forward by none other than Tucker Carlson on Fox News.
You know, coronavirus, clinical obesity, 209,000 dead, whatever.
Whatever, Steve.
Wow.
Whatever. We're gonna Valley Girl this bitch, okay? Okay, no coronavirus. No.
I mean, I'm not inspired. I'm not in any way reassured. Sounds absolutely terrifying. I love it when he said coronavirus and chronic obesity. I thought he was just going to list all of the attributes of Donald Trump, like some sort of Tinder dating profile for presidents.
Oh God, my country.
Right, you can keep your messages coming through. Let's have a look. Sorry, I just noticed some of the messages. John McLaren says, "Evening, gentlemen," and does a shout out for Lynn, and then says, "Restream bot do on." No, that's actually us. We're sorted so that we're bringing it together. Don't you worry. Chris says, he needs to be escorted. This is Trump, escorted into his bunker, fed fake news, and just wait until he forgets that he's president. Problem solved. Won't be long either. He'll be distracted by a shiny thing.
Yeah, that's basically it. Hopefully. I was just checking the Brighton Fringe stream, and I don't think we're on it.
Ah, after all that hard work.
So if you are trying to find us and you're trying to watch on the Brighton website, just go to YouTube. But you won't know that because you can't see us.
Well, that is a shame, because I spent a long while having phone calls about the code, which is clearly not there.
But anyway, we never liked Brighton.
Although the last time we totally dissed a festival, we were going out on their stream. So.
Maybe they found out about us. Breaking news: Eddie Van Halen has died.
True, that one. True. Wow. Saw that just before we went on, but it's a death story, so we're not going to do jokes about it anyway. But
no, it's a band, right?
Yeah. Exquisite Tenderness says, "Hi, girls." Okay, interesting, nice approach. That's like it's like you're trying to be a school bully or whatever that character was from Scrubs.
Maybe it was because when I was being sassy. Like,
oh, I see.
Maybe that was
it. Then they say looking good. Why, thank you. I think we'll take that.
We'll take that. This isn't OnlyFans. Slow down there, Tiger.
Not yet, but we'll get there. Shout out to Anthony, who sent us some messages as well, but they've just dropped off the bottom of the screen. But thank you for watching. If you're watching this, share the stream wherever you're on, whichever social media you're on. You can send your messages as well and get subscribed to there. And I will also pop, if you're enjoying the show enough to chuck some money in our pots, find the virtual pot. There should be a link somewhere near this stream.
Very much appreciated. Let's see. Trump is immune from many things: empathy, understanding, and long words. Although he did manage to say hydroxychloroquine.
But they're proper nouns. No, nor bleach.
How to say it,
which is a shame. Yeah,
we don't know that yet. Maybe that's why he feels so good.
Maybe. I mean, look, this is a guy who said that he thought we should get UV light inside the body. So unless he took one of those, those lights that you use to check if a £20 note's real, if he didn't get the bulb out of one of those and cram it up the old a-hole, then he is not committed to his science. So
up
the old check if that's real or a forgery. Keep the messages coming through. I want to have a crack at this as well, because look, from the British side, from the British point of view, from the satirist point of view, this has been a terrible weekend for me, because look, even though I pay attention to the news a lot, I'm still a human. Somehow I've retained some of that humanity. Not a lot, but a little bit. So when a man who is old and obese catches a disease that kills old and obese people, I actually felt sorry. I was concerned. I don't wish death on anyone. And I also started to worry, given that there are a lot of Trump supporters think that COVID was a hoax. So I was worrying, if we can now catch a hoax disease, be careful what you make up. Because if you think of something, someone could catch it. I am now paranoid that I might contract the phage from Star Trek Voyager, because it's made up and it does not look like a good disease. If the Vidians can't cure it, I am screwed. But after all of my concerns, thankfully, I saw the news. He left the hospital. There's a picture in the Telegraph. He left the hospital. He's forgotten his lunchbox, but he's still carrying it. That's weird. And he left, and look, he's out there, as you say. He discharged himself from a hospital, which is less of a boast when you sent yourself to hospital in the first place. If you were rushed to hospital, being discharged from hospital is like an achievement. But seeing as you went there, it's like saying, I escaped from the prison. Sir, you went to the prison as a visitor. I know, and I totally escaped. Less of a boast. But yeah, some of the clips that we've seen have been upsetting. So, as someone who's had coronavirus, I didn't like it when he was playing Billy Big Bollocks about how well he's fought it.
But don't let it dominate your lives.
So, you're right. He's implying that anyone who's died of it was dominated by coronavirus, and he's trying to be macho. Well, Donald, seeing as we've both had COVID-19, I didn't show any symptoms. I didn't have to go to hospital. I didn't have to take any time off. I didn't have to be flown by a helicopter anywhere. So out of the two of us, maybe you were the one who was bent over and dominated by this virus. Ooh. You orange what's-it of hate. So just, if you want to play that game, we can all play it. And as a scientist, I was very upset when he said...
And maybe I'm immune. I don't know.
He thinks he's immune to a disease that he currently has. That is a level of self-belief that I have not seen since I went to A&E like this.
No, it's okay. I think this means I'm bulletproof.
Special effects, right? Special effects on the show. Oh,
nice.
Yeah. Turns out, ketchup stains. Got rid of that T-shirt now. But when he was ill, he was doing these, video clips on his social media. And I started to worry when he said this.
It's been a very interesting journey. I learned a lot about COVID. I learned it by really going to school.
And you think, he probably went to a school. I'd believe it. He was like, I need to go to a school. They have sandpits and colouring in. Like, he's the kind of person who thinks, I really learned a lot about coronavirus by licking all those handrails. I do not trust him with the health of anyone, including himself now. But it's okay. There were a team of expert doctors on hand to sort him out and do regular press conferences. It was one of my favourite clips.
Over the course of his illness, the president has experienced 2 episodes of transient drops in his oxygen saturation. We debated the reasons for this and whether we'd even intervene. I mean,
that's cold, but that's understandable. It's kind of a Phil Collins in the air tonight, seeing someone drowning and letting them drown anyway. It's in many ways, it is the trolley cart moral dilemma of taking the Hippocratic Oath. You swear to do no harm, but what does more harm? Saving Donald Trump or just letting him die? Like, how many kids won't go in cages? Doctor, I'm afraid the president can't breathe. Ooh, I got a break to go on. Maybe I just take the break. It's difficult. But don't worry, because that doctor, Dr. Sean Conley is his name. Don't worry, because he is not a moral man. He spent ages at one of those press conferences refusing and avoiding the question about whether Donald Trump was actually requiring extra oxygen, which is no biggie, is it? If you've got a lung disease and you need a bit of oxygen. But anyway, he was dodging the question. The next day, he had to fess up about it because we heard that that Trump was on oxygen. We joined the action whilst one of the journalists was asking him why he wouldn't admit it the previous day.
Disclosed that the president had been administered oxygen.
It's a good question.
Thank you.
I was trying to reflect the upbeat attitude that the team, the president, that his course of illness has had. I didn't want to give any information that might steer the course of illness in another direction.
Is that your job? You're a spin doctor now? What the hell? You're a doctor. You're not meant to be just saying the things to make people feel good. You're meant to be being honest, aren't you? You don't just say things to keep it upbeat. That's why when you go to the doctors, it's never ended up like this.
Well, we have your results. Okay, doctor. How does it look? It's good news. Oh. Thank you. Oh. Yes, you have 3 weeks to live. What? The results came back, you have 3 weeks to live, but they could be 3 great weeks. They could be the 3 best weeks of your life.
Well, how could they be the best 3 weeks of my life?
Well, the 3 best weeks of the rest of your life.
What are you doing?
I'm just trying to stay upbeat. I don't want to give any information that could steer the course of the disease, which, as I say, will only take 3 weeks. There's still so much you could see. Not the Bond film. You won't get to see the Bond film. That's gone for you now. No Time to Die. That's the name of the film, not you. You very much. You had 3 weeks indeed, yes. Oh, don't be so negative. Which you're not. I think that is actually the take-home message here.
Emotional stuff. It's the piano that does it.
It is.
Right. Some of the messages coming through.
I wanted you at the end. That was brilliant, by the way. I think that's one of the best sketches you've done. It would have been nice if you had a cassette player, and at the end you could have just pressed stop. Right, stop, and
click.
That's all the time we have today. But that was moving. You got the different angles going on.
Yeah.
You got emotion demonstrated.
Yeah.
Bravo.
I mean, I must admit, when I was editing that sketch, I did think, wow, this is dark. Even for me, I was like, got me right there. Right, let's have a look. Some of the messages coming through. Exquisite says, did they do a brain scan on him? Good question. Do you remember the spitting images, the president's brain is missing sketches? They wouldn't even be a surprise these days.
No.
Condiment-based method, second BAFTA nomination coming up. Why, thank you.
Yeah, nice.
I'll take some of that.
That's what we're looking for.
Ketchup. Yeah. Let's have a
what
look.
else have we got in here?
Give him oxygen and 20 Benson and Edges, says Chris. Actually, give him any kind of cigarette lighter when he's in extra oxygen. I'll be up for that. His eyebrows aren't going to stay on.
That was another clip I came across today. I don't know how old it was, but Tucker Carlson saying that part of the reason why more Americans are obese now is because they're not encouraged to smoke anymore.
Well, there's an interesting way of viewing it. Yeah.
So the problem is people stop smoking, they live and get fat.
Damn it.
Love big tobacco.
Mark says it was like watching a Channel 5 afternoon weepy. It was an emotional drama.
Oh, Exquisite didn't like it.
No, what it was, look, that's not for everyone because it was quite emotional. Never mind. I'll cope somehow. And Chris says, I see a bit of Salvador Dali hanging in Alan Akers. That was from when I was a student. Everyone else at university got like Klimt's The Kiss or whatever it is. And then some of the emo people got Monk's The Scream. And I was like, I've got to do something different. And at the time, no one was into Dali. And that's why I've still got it.
Love a little Dali.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good for you. It's good for the soul.
Keep the messages coming, and wherever you see the stream, there should be a link to chuck some money in our pot if you're enjoying it enough that you'd buy us a little bit of it, and that would be very much appreciated. And
it's, because of drinking up time in the UK, you've got another probably 5 or 6 minutes to do that, because otherwise it's illegal. And you're right, because that means before 10 o'clock, do like we all do these days, and get 3 rounds in to make sure we can neck them down. So 3 drinks worth, please, in the pot. Yeah. I was having to explain that to a younger person, what it was like when there was proper drinking up time back in the day, when I first arrived in the UK and everything shut at 11. And so you'd have, the 3 Guinness at 11 o'clock. Although Guinness is a tricky one to try and neck at the end of an evening. It's true. No, each pint is like a meal. This is what I never get about Guinness drinkers. Yeah, I did have some severe stomach problems in the first couple of years that I lived here. Okay. Well, if that's still a mystery to you now, there's nothing we can do. I'm immune. Dominated it. I'm immune to the disease that I have. Oh, God. Really, I'm looking forward to seeing how his perspective on that turns out. It's like me saying I'm immune to male pattern baldness. I'm sat right here. That really cheers me up. It makes me feel better about myself because I've been feeling low. Thanks, Donald. What is wrong? How? You know what I mean? I love a liar like the next man. But to be able to stand there and lie was like, maybe I'm immune to the disease. Ugh. Of course not. You've just flipping got it. Yeah. But to be fair, he has made himself immune to male pattern baldness because he's very rich and he's done whatever the fuck that is. Yeah. So if you had billions of dollars, you could do that too, Steve. Look, I mean, if I had 15 grand, I can go get a hair transplant and surely it would look better than that. Sure. Anyway, some more messages coming through. Exquisite says at 10 we're off to Asda to get some vodka. Living it large, classy. Cool. Thank you for that. I'll send you the address, Exquisite. And you can drop some by. As an AFC Wimbledon supporter, says Mark, I appreciate the idea of being different. I think what's happening is one of the message boards they're doing football jokes, which is cruel because neither Eric nor myself we've got no clue. You guys are watching the wrong show. We're glad you're here, but it ain't going to give you that fix. Yeah. We can do a lot of things for you. No sports section at the end of this bulletin. No sports. You made the sports thing. Sports. And we only used it once. Yeah. Yeah, but I also once spent like 5 hours doing a sketch where I'd film myself in 7 different seats around my house. I'm clearly not averse to wasting time on these shows, so let's not worry about it. It's not one of the problems we're going to solve. Speaking of which, we move on to the next problem. It is going to be. I do spend a lot of time these days talking about Donald Trump. We're only a month out from the election. And the thing is, I want to understand my fellow Americans. I want to understand. And the problem I understand is how does anyone still support this guy?
Good question. Yeah.
Now, they've done a lot of focus groups, of course, because we're in debate season, and then after everything that's happened with Donald Trump. And we saw some results of one of these. There were people who voted for Barack Obama and then voted for Donald Trump and are now struggling with what to vote this time.
I bet they are, yeah.
I call it a
so there's some of the
scandemic,
comments.
and the reason being is, okay, there is COVID, but...
Okay. I'm going to stop you right there,
He
sweetheart.
paused.
Okay. Anytime you start to say there is something, but I don't want to say anything racist, but I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but no. Because whatever you're going to say is going to be racist, conspiracy theorists, or just batshit crazy.
Yeah. I'm not
But you know
doing
what?
this just to
I
get
wanna
inside
learn.
your pants, but
There's no. It's like, yeah, no, I just want to cuddle, but anyway. That's, I want to hear. I want to learn. I want to understand. So what does she say? What does she believe?
If the people are not dying of COVID, from COVID, they're dying with COVID.
bless.
Okay. I've heard this argument a lot. So what they're saying is there's a lot of comorbidities. And a lot of the people that have died, especially in the first wave, have had other illnesses. And then they had COVID, and then they died. So I think what she's saying is, Steve, if you're unwell, you get COVID, you die. It's kind of like you're standing on the edge of a cliff. You fall off the cliff. Now, the thing that I'm not going to worry about is the fact that I pushed you off the cliff.
I'm with you. So gravity is the killer in that situation.
Yeah, not the nudge.
Yeah.
Not the nudge. The nudge is important because there was a railing. I was holding onto that railing.
Yeah.
And you came up behind me and went, bam! So she's not the only one who's got some interesting theories. This was somebody's comment about how Biden did in the debates.
Because I came across a couple theories that he was wired up, and they showed some evidence for that debate. Also, there's also somebody pointed out possibly he was wearing contact lenses that were projecting things for him.
There was some evidence. And some guy, he's online. He just gave me some evidence. And Biden was wired up and wearing contact lenses, which display. Now, if Biden was able to manage to wear contact lenses, he's a 78-year-old man, 77, whatever, and be able to read what's on those contact lenses and translate that and speak that out loud. I mean, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
I would be up for that.
Vote for him.
Now, the other thing is that technology, that ain't happening, right? And we know this. Steve and I know this specifically because back in the day when Google Glasses were a thing, I'm going to take you back, Steve, to Edinburgh a few years ago. Steve and I were waiting for our Edinburgh show to start, and this guy came up to us, and he was asking for directions. Edinburgh's a complex city to walk around. The only thing that both Steve and I immediately noticed is that he was wearing Google Glasses at the time. And we both observed the fact that we're like, dude, you're wearing the internet on your face.
Yeah, and he asked, like, is this the bar? Is this the venue?
It's right here. Yeah. It's all there.
Bing it on your glasses.
So I'm not quite sure, but you know what? I want to understand, Steve. I want to find how these people, not these people. That sounds derogatory. I just want to relate better, right? So I actually was able to find out one of the people that were Trump supporter in one of the focus groups, and so I gave him a call earlier today, and here's the call.
Hi there, Mike. Thanks for doing this. MAGA! Woo! USA! USA! Woo! Well, that was loud. Look, Mike, thanks for taking the time to talk to me. I just wanted to find out, like, your feelings for Trump. Like, what is it that makes you want to support him and still... I'm sorry, Mike, where are you right now? Yeah. I'm in the Lincoln bedroom. Look at it, it's right there. I've been on the bed. I left a little treat under the pillow. Oh God, I don't think we want to hear about that. A Confederate flag. that's completely inappropriate. But how did you even get in the White House? It was easy to get in. You see, when Trump went to the hospital to get the libtards all upset, I just snuck in the back door. They dang left it wide open. It was easy to get in. Yeah, there wasn't anybody around, except I did see this kind of ghost of a woman sort of wandering the halls going, "Be gone, evil spirits." She looked kind of like Melania, but happy. Yeah, well, that's not surprising. I also was able to get into the Oval Office, and I was able to sit in the chair of the president, and even one of his coats was there, like, because there was like some stuff of his around, like they'd left in a hurry or something. Wow, that's pretty incredible. Yeah, I know. And I mean, it was great. I put on his jacket, and it smelled like him. And it was I was touching everything that he touched. And I even found one of his Diet Cokes, and it still had his straw in it. So weren't you worried about getting sick? He has COVID. Oh no, I wasn't worried at all about that. Are you okay? Okay. I think we're going to leave that there. I don't think he's going to make it.
The level of method you are getting on the show tonight. Unbelievable.
I shaved for you guys. Look at that. Physically altered myself. I'm like Daniel Day-Lewis here.
Mark says the Dukes of Hazzard rebooted. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, without the Confederate flag thing. I wouldn't do that.
Well, he made a mention. It was in the text.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
Because I don't know how to play this without it making noise, because the lady who was in that group chat thing was making some very spurious points. The guy, but look at the guy in the middle bottom. He's the one who caught my eye.
Because I came
sits
across
himself
a couple...
next to the light behind him, just to be in silhouette.
Yeah.
For some sort of reverse point of view penis angle. I don't know. I mean, that's.
I almost zoomed in on the woman above him because she looks just like, are you fucking kidding me? She's just like.
She's watching the telly.
She's not impressed with any of these conversations or people. I mean, I do feel the experiment of democracy may have failed us slightly these days, but.
I love how the first woman got into a bit of a muddle with all the prepositions. I mean, it's cruel to mock for this, but people aren't down with COVID. They're down on COVID. They're into COVID. They are adjacent to COVID. I don't know.
It's the China virus.
That's all they could cope with.
They were allergic to the MSG.
You know what? You could convince them that actually is the problem. That is the terror.
I should start that as a thing. I'm going to start a fake account and just send that out there.
Yeah. If you're watching the show, if you see any messages about MSG being the problem, make sure you retweet them. We can make this happen on the show. Lovely.
This could be what makes us go viral.
On Twitter, Stephen says, so, at Mr. Stephen Allen, you just put the words flown by a helicopter in air quotes. What do you know about Donnie's admission to hospital? I guess it was flying. Yeah, I guess it's a helicopter. It probably didn't just roll.
Very good.
But did you need to be flown? If you're taking yourself to hospital, you're not in that much of a rush that you need an air ambulance. That was my general point of view. What an arse!
But if you've got a helicopter, dude, I'm taking a helicopter. I mean,
who do you not feel sorry for? Because I guess Trump doesn't fly his own helicopter. He doesn't even walk his own legs up and down ramps. So you had to make someone fly a helicopter with old Typhoid Mary in the back.
Oh yeah, that's been a legitimate concern about this whole thing, especially for the people that drove him around for the joyride on Sunday. But you know what? Grandpa likes to go for a ride on Sunday, even when he's got a deadly disease. Grandpa needs his ride.
dear. I wonder if they had, at least hopefully had some of those plastic partitionings that have been putting up in Ubers.
Yeah.
No. I hope they gave him a low score when he got out. If you go for an Uber drive with a deadly disease, you deserve a 2-star. That's all I'm saying. Mark says, look at those 5 people the gene pool could do with a dose of chlorine or hydroxychloroquine. There's chlorine in it. It's one of the functional groups. Right. Now, before we... look, if you're enjoying the show, you can subscribe to the YouTube thing down there and chuck some money in the pot. It would help keep this project afloat. Are we ready for another problem? A non-Trump problem.
What?
Because there's more than just Trump out there.
What?
There's Boris Johnson too. Yay.
No.
So look, it's been the virtual party conference, and by that's the virtual conference of a political party. It's not a virtual political party. That happened when the Lib Dems did theirs. Oh, harsh, but true. So he did this, effectively what we're doing, sat in front of a camera and did a web stream speech as part of the Tory party conference, and Boris Johnson started off by saying this.
I want to begin by thanking you for everything you did at the election to save this country from socialism.
Did what? Sorry. So, says a man who's had to emergency build loads more hospitals, nationalise the trains, and give away more money than any government has done in recent memory. So, well done for fighting socialism, Boris. But because it was done remotely, he said this.
And so, I want to thank you all for zooming in.
Can do if you want.
And so, I want to thank you all for zooming in.
Odd request, but whatever you want to do, mate. And then he started speaking about how he's been since his particular battle with the COVID.
I've read a lot of nonsense recently about how my own bout of COVID has somehow robbed me of my mojo.
It's all right if it has. The world's got enough children in it. Stop now. You don't need to keep knocking them out. And also, look, who's really been saying that you've not dealt with the COVID thing? It's probably just Trump saying that you were dominated by it, but don't listen to what he says. By the looks of things, when he walks up any steps, he now sounds like Darth Vader has just run for a bus. So, don't worry too much. But there was a serious point that Boris was making about why things got so tough for him.
The reason I had such a nasty experience with the disease is that although I was superficially in the pink of health when I caught it, I had a very common underlying condition. My friends, I was too fat.
Yeah. So you think it was the fact that you were too fat and not the viral load you had by shaking hands with people in a COVID ward just to try and look good? Do you think it was the cake, or do you think it was all the hands that? No, it's probably the cake. Probably the cake. Yeah. But then he also he was on this little health kick during the speech.
And I've since lost 26 pounds, and you can imagine that in bags of sugar.
Or one big bag of shit. I can imagine that as well. He continued.
And I'm going to continue that diet because you've got to search for the hero inside yourself in the hope that that individual is considerably slimmer.
That was a strange one for me. That was Boris Johnson not quoting Socrates or Aristotle. That was Boris Johnson quoting Heather Small from the M People. So still, great minds. But I quite like the fact that he might start, stop using all the Latin phrases and start quoting songs from the 90s. That's more up my street. I can't wait for the next speech where he's giving it some... and we need to ask ourselves the hard questions. Who let the dogs out? Woof, 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 woof. That would be a speech that I would tune up into. Have you got any idea what that song is, Eric?
I know that song.
Wow, we found a song that you actually know.
I know that song.
Didn't think that would happen.
The one song.
So there's been more that he went on to do his usual stuff of just moonshotting stuff, coming up with weird ideas to make us feel good about the future. And he was saying that offshore wind will power every home in the country by 2030. It's not even the first time he's done these kind of just aim for the future, random feel-good things. Recently, he said that he wanted to return 30% of the UK to the wild. That's one of the benefits of ruining the economy, is that we will be returned to the wild when we have to revert to our hunter-gatherer nature just to try and survive. So he's got that in the bag. But instead of talking about the actual problems, he just comes up, and this is what he does. He just says things to make you feel good, and it worked. That's why he won the election. We'll be the best nation. You repeat that enough, and people go, oh, if you disagree with him, you don't believe in Britain. He is just coming up with random things. In the future, we will all have our own unicorn, and then we feel happy about it. I mean, watch out, on Netflix soon, he'll be starring in the new reality TV show Selling Bullshit, because it's working for him so far. So I don't want to be the one to have to bring things down, but I'm gonna. So while he's making up crap about wind farms doing something, let's remember that even though he promised so much, he promised a world-beating track and trace system. We are the nation that couldn't even get that working because we don't know how to use Excel. We missed out on thousands of cases of people who have this deadly virus because there's a problem with Excel. And world-beating? You wait till Boris finds out that the rest of the world have upgraded their copy of Excel from Excel 97. There's probably some MP somewhere who tried to help out by, Boris, I will download from a BitTorrent a cracked version of Excel 2000, but it just put porn all over my laptop. And that should have been the excuse that Damien Green used. So, the Damien Green story, he got in trouble because his laptop had lots of porn on it.
Yeah. Is that a problem?
Well, I mean, it kind of was when it happened, but I can't help thinking you give it 5 to 10 years and the idea of a politician just looking at porn will be one of the nicest things any of them are doing. So, I mean, I don't know how you solve the problem of Boris Johnson. I started off in that one like we could, but nope, I don't think I can solve that one. He just is.
But maybe if he loses enough weight, he'll just disappear.
You never know.
just be gone. Just be gone. And his hair. Can he get a haircut as well?
There was a clip right at the start of it. I was going to include the clip of him saying good morning. I was like, you don't have to say it's morning. We can see your head. Straight up. But I didn't make the cut.
I mean, maybe that's why he has permanent bedhead, is because he's just got so many partners.
So many beds, only one head.
So many beds. I mean, he's never not with another woman.
Yeah, well, I mean, you might get sued for that one, but we need the publicity. Stephen on Twitter says, COVID takes your mojo. When did we learn the effects of coronavirus? When do we learn what the effects of coronavirus have on penny chews? That's how you do. If I was still on radio, that would be a good thing. Coming up with sweets that people remember from their childhood.
Oh, yeah.
You get the listeners in.
Well, I got different ones because America has different childhood. Like I had, when I was a kid, used to really be heavy on the crack.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
It's good times. It's good times. I lived in a rough neighborhood. 26 pounds. Think of the bags of sugar. Sugar is sold in kilos. Ooh, well, not for much longer, Mark, because we left those fascists in the EU. We can sell our sugar in bags of imperial, whatever measurement that
I should be buying my sugar by the bushel.
Yeah.
Or if I need more than just a bushel's worth of sugar, I will be buying one square perch. And
yeah, why don't
damn
they sell
those foreigners.
Squares like they. Oh, remember a cube? Oh, that would be.
I will have a rod or a perch. I mean, eventually I might end up having to have a cubic furlong. And if any of those Johnny foreigners want to stop me using proper measurements, then to hell with them.
I still refuse to look at the weather in Celsius. Been here 20 years.
Yeah, that's
Fahrenheit all the way.
Yeah, because you're wrong.
It makes more sense.
We've
talked about this before.
Chris says £26. How many Sheck dolls is that? It depends on the
quality,
and also before or after.
And I have to say, if you're looking for decent quality, decent prices on that kind of equipment, Banggood.
Do you know what? We talked about this on one of the Friday afternoon shows because you were offered a sex toy by a cheap tech website called Banggood, and you were surprised. And it was only like a week later that I thought to myself, how are you surprised? It's called Banggood.
But the thing is, we both bought stuff from that website, non-sex stuff, and I'm the only one that's getting offers of sex toys.
You got the cookies.
I'm not going to spend, I don't want a 10-pound dildo. If I'm going to get a dildo, I'll spend at least 12 quid.
If I'm buying a sex toy, I am willing to splash out. Indeed, that might be the purpose of it.
Nice one. Right. Depends on if it's inflated.
We should explain. Mark then says, in terms of the sex doll, it depends on if it's inflated with air or water. Well, like a waterbed, it'll weigh more than you. If it goes on top, it'd kill you.
Yeah, 26 pounds. I mean, you want it? No, I don't even want to say that. Right.
Inflate it with hydrogen and you'll be all right, won't you?
Well, I would say We're reaching the end of our time. We're going to be back on Thursday. I really enjoyed being part of the Brighton Fringe.
Yeah. Good times. You can just feel all that brighteniness heading our way.
I can feel it. I'm just going to refresh it one more time.
Double check the webpage. Still
this
not on
online event will be shown here when available. Maybe we're just not available yet.
I mean, we definitely are. It's not that we're not streaming because the code isn't showing. Oh no, we've effectively done the show now. But this is why we're talking. We're just talking crap.
We are done. So while we're wrapping up, if you enjoyed the show, if you think, these guys, they just spent a day writing jokes, 45 minutes of being on screen, and about 20 minutes of good stuff. Unfortunately,
give some money. Eric shaved for one of those sketches.
Shaved for this, and
collars and cuffs
all the way.
You got to commit method.
Because when you gain weight, that's one of the only ways you can make it look bigger. So yeah, you can buy us a drink if you did, but also very importantly, even almost as much as buying us a drink, tell people about the show, subscribe to the channel, share the videos, and let people know that you enjoyed it. Or if you did enjoy it and you've got some people you don't like, send it to them, because it doesn't matter. Every view counts.
Yeah, and if you really didn't enjoy it, well, you. Instead of pretending to get people on board, just
if you give us enough money, we'll stop.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And that's if you're watching Rishi Sunak.
Yeah, although Rishi's latest update, which broke too late in the show to add in because they'd already got the Boris stuff, but he said the people in the arts should just think about retraining. Well, I hadn't thought of that. Well, yeah, cheers, Rishi. We already are thinking of retraining. I once, when it was 2011, when I was earning such a small amount of money from stand-up, and I'd lost some radio work back then, and I went to Sainsbury's to see if I could manage to get a job. Just like tidying up the trolleys in the car parks. I live near a Sainsbury's. And I couldn't because I didn't have any references because I'd been a joke teller for too long. So I can't even be the guy who tidies up the trolleys. Don't tell me about retraining, Rishi. I don't stand a chance.
Because you'd be using your stand-up skills. Somebody would, give you a hard time about the trolley, and you'd be like, "Hey, I fucked your mum."
Yeah, I don't come to where you work, and
That's why retraining comics is going to be disastrous. I mean, although, yeah. I mean, you do know how to manage a spreadsheet.
That's more than they do.
Yep. There we go. Right. I think we've come to the end. We will be back on the Brighton Fringe for the first time on Thursday.
Yep.
And we'll be here on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, all the places. Please let people know about the shows we said. Buy us a drink if you can. And thank you for those who bought a ticket in advance as well. And I think that's it. That's it for me.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
That's it from me. We'll see you Thursday, 9 o'clock.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.